Hello everybody, it's Lisa Jane here and welcome to my first video of 2020. Wow, what transformative and evolutionary times we are hitting. If you thought last year was a hectic year, then hold your hats because we are heading into the next decade or more of major transformations. This doesn't mean your whole world is going to collapse, but it does mean that we need to be focused. So if you want some guidance and insight as to what the energies are offering us from my perspective and through my spiritual guidance, then stay tuned. I'll keep it short, but I will offer you some information that hopefully can be practical in its application, since that is my focus, is practical spirituality. I don't really want to offer you things that you might be able to find somewhere else. I need to tune into my specific way of working, and that is to really get specific guidance on practical ways in which we can assist human evolution and awakening, and in particular, our own spiritual growth and development. So I hope you've had a good start to the year, firstly. Let me just say that energetically, I don't think we've stepped into the new year yet. We will be doing that around about March 21, 22, where we really start the new energetic cycle. Those of you that are astrologers or follow astrology will know that we are also going through some major planetary shifts and associations that really have big implications for both individual and global change. My focus is on the energetic aspects and in particular how we can bring those into our daily life. So, Spirit is nudging me to share more too. So this year I have rebranded myself and my tagline is the Multidimensional Mother. If you really want to know about more where that came from, you're welcome to drop me an email or comment. But to suffice to say that I fill my life with a whole lot of things, notwithstanding the basic human act of being a mother to 3 beautiful children. But I am multidimensional in the sense that I daily work with spirit, and I use a lot of my intuition, my guidance, the information I'm receiving to actually help me navigate the day-to-day challenges that as a human walking this planet I have, as does every one of us. And may I just say that that's probably the focus of my work, and specifically what I align myself to is practical spirituality. It's spirituality in the sense that I can offer you practical guidance as to how to change your life, or how to make those small changes in your life that will help you move to a more peaceful, calm, and happier way of being. So while I don't specifically state that I channel this entity or that entity, or align myself to necessarily some of the angel guidance that comes through other people, these are light beings that I work with, and I have my own team, but I offer the information in such a way that it is available to anyone who's interested. So what I thought I would offer you today in terms of the guidance I received at the beginning of the year, and when I tuned in to ask what it is specifically I needed to be clear about and to offer you, was around a very strong image that I received during the transition. It may seem a little bit scary at first when I offer it to you, but when I tell you a little bit more about it, it'll all make sense. And the image I received was actually, it's time for us to put our own oxygen masks on. So you know that little thing in the beginning of an airplane trip, the speech you get from those beautiful air hostesses is about seatbelts and oxygen masks and emergency. Well, one of the very things they point out, I was going to say first thing, but I don't think it's the first thing they tell you, but is about the dropping of the oxygen mask, and make sure you put that mask on yourself first. Even if you're a mother of a child, even if you are a wife or husband of a partner, or a sibling or child of a parent, always put the mask on first. Now, whilst we can look at this imagery and think, oh my God, does that mean the plane is coming down? Well, In a way, we are in an emergency situation. We are in a situation where there is a huge collapse of the old ways of being, and we're being asked to really look at a new way of working. We can see that with the climate change problems we're facing. We can see that with the refugee crisis. We can see that with what some of the major world leaders are dealing with at the moment. And that all ripples down to us as an individual, since we are all part of the collective. In the truest spiritual sense, I am not separate from you, and you are not separate from any other being. As in with nature, they communicate, trees communicate, the whole community works together for the benefit of all. That, in fact, is our truest human nature. We have just forgotten it. So we are being asked on a very high level, a spiritual level, to begin working with ourselves in such a way that we can find peace, contentment, and that we can use that to work from a place of being more in tune with our own needs and those of others. I think one of the things that I found with my own work is I didn't always believe or see that I had any abilities apart from anybody else. To me, it was quite normal that I was able to read a person quite well, that I was able to offer advice that they really needed, or see an answer to solution in my work as an IT consultant in corporate for 24 years, to see a solution to the problem that was not clearly obvious to everyone else. My fundamental belief as a psychic, intuitive energy reader is that we all have the potential to be that way. We all have the potential to be able to be in tune with our own voice and those of others. And that's what this change is asking for, is that we start to work from a higher way of being, a higher awareness, a higher conscious effort in terms of thoughts, speech, actions. And the first step to moving to any of these changes is really to look at ourselves. The old sentence, as within, so without. So the focus of this year and the coming years then, if we look at the imagery I was offered about putting on your oxygen mask, is really to look at self-compassion and self-nurturing. And unfortunately, us humans really don't know how to do that well. And if we are doing it well, then we're generally called selfish or self-centered, which is not necessarily the case. So what we can use, because sometimes self-love or the concept of self-love feels quite elusive, right? The image of the oxygen mask is really quite useful. So that if you were in a situation or circumstance, in a relationship, in a job, even in your own habits, if you ask yourself the question, am I really putting on my oxygen mask? In other words, am I really doing those things that will benefit me, that will keep me alive and happy? Now, there probably are a number of occasions, a number of circumstances, a number of situations where you realize you're not doing that well. It's not about beating yourself up. The times of self-judgment and self-beration are also rapidly moving away. That idea of the old ways of being and the new ways, the old earth, the new earth, the old way of consciously or unconsciously interacting with others, and a move to a more conscious, means that we have to start looking at those behaviors, habits, thoughts, beliefs within ourselves that need changing. Because the world is not going to change if we're still thrashing ourselves on the back, or if we're still treating someone we love badly because we are being triggered. That's not how the world is going to change. So, although a number of spiritual teachers, and probably even in my talks, have been talking about last year's rapid change, and there have been a number of years, maybe, going back to 2012, where we really started on this big journey, my belief is that we haven't even begun the work yet. And I know that some people might go, wow, horrors of horrors, I thought I'd done so much work. And yes, indeed you have. You've done a lot of work in becoming aware of what your issues are, or becoming aware of where your healing is needed. But now, with the astrological transits and with the energy that is coming through, as humans, as spiritual beings in a human body, as embodied souls, we are being asked to look at those really critical things like discipline, yes, I know, it sounds terrible, commitment, consistency, and no longer betraying yourself by really letting go of those things you said you wanted to achieve or change. It really is a strong, there really is a strong sense of being committed, of really not letting go when you know there is something that needs changing, that is going to benefit you, excuse me, and the people around you. So, for instance, there's a number of things that I've had to implement, or, a number of things that I've been thinking of doing, then I know this is the year I really need to pull finger out and get them done, right? Because the energy is supportive of that. But we can no longer sit with our heads looking to the heavens, waiting for aliens to drop down and land on the planet and help us out. It might be happening, and those alien beings might well be with us, but in a very different form to what we imagined. But at the same time, it's for us to put on our gloves, get our hands dirty, and really start pulling out those weeds. Really start being aware of things we say that are not cool, things we do to ourselves that are not cool, and really start to become more focused and more aware of the compassionate acts of commitment, of discipline, of change that can be implemented in our lives. So I will keep it short for today, because I want you to really sit, and maybe if you want to take the image further, you can go and meditate on it. That the theme of 2020, more than anything else, is how do I act from a place where I know I am putting on my oxygen mask first. If I am putting that oxygen mask on someone else, I am going to die in the process. And I can't help that someone else if I am not alive and functioning, right? If I want to help that person, and this is especially true for empaths, rescue type people, you have to help yourself, darlings. You have to put that nurturing mask on and say, right, that person's not good for me. That behavior is not good for me. This belief pattern is not good for me. And in order to be my best, most compassionate, loving human in service of others, we need to put our oxygen masks on, because the plane is coming down. Things are changing rapidly. So to finish off, if there's anything you need to know, any guidance, this is my year to share. Talk. That's what I've been getting a message from. So I'm posting more regularly on my Instagram feed, if you want to look below for that link. I'm posting more regularly on my Facebook page. I'm hoping to instill some podcasts. I've got a lot of content coming in, so it might be a better place for me to share in a podcast. But again, your thoughts are more than welcome. And more than anything, I wish you the very best of 2020. May all your wishes start coming true, because magic is in the air and magic is happening. So we need to be more attuned and more aligned to exactly what we're creating with our thoughts, and to spend time in nature as much as possible. Spend time in solitude. If you don't already have a journal, grab yourself a journal, grab yourself a whole couple, dream journal, future self journal, holistic psychologist, yes, I follow her, self journal, relationship journal, whatever you want. Just kind of get it together and commit to yourself. Commit. So with that, I wish you all the very, very best. I send blessings to you all, and I will be in touch and hopefully regularly post something on YouTube or other channels in terms of podcasts and the like in weekly sessions. Have a good day, have a good weekend, and I'll chat to you soon.